A few years ago, my doctor told me my blood sugar was creeping into the prediabetes range. I wasn't shocked exactly. I'd been feeling off for a while, tired all the time, especially after meals, thirsty constantly, a little brain fog that I couldn't shake. But hearing those words, prediabetes, made it real. She said I had a choice. I could make some changes now, or I'd likely end up on medication down the road. That conversation was the wake-up call I needed. The good news is that blood sugar is something you can influence significantly through what you eat. You're not helpless. Today, I want to share 7 foods that are scientifically proven to help control blood sugar. These aren't gimmicks or fad diet tricks. These are real whole foods that work with your body to keep your blood sugar stable, reduce insulin resistance, and lower your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Before we dive into the foods, let me explain why blood sugar control matters so much, even if you don't have diabetes. When you eat, your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, which is sugar. That glucose enters your bloodstream, and your pancreas releases insulin to help move the glucose into your cells for energy. This is normal and healthy, but when you eat too much sugar or refined carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas has to pump out more and more insulin to deal with it. Over time, your cells become resistant to insulin. They stop responding to it properly. That's called insulin resistance, and it's the first step toward type 2 diabetes. High blood sugar also damages your blood vessels, increases inflammation, and raises your risk of heart disease, stroke, kidney problems, and nerve damage. So keeping your blood sugar stable isn't just about preventing diabetes. It's about protecting your overall health. The first food is cinnamon. I know it sounds almost too simple, but cinnamon is one of the most well-researched natural blood sugar regulators out there. Cinnamon contains compounds that mimic insulin and help your cells take up glucose more efficiently. It also slows down the breakdown of carbohydrates in your digestive tract, which means your blood sugar doesn't spike as high after meals. Multiple studies have shown that just half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of cinnamon per day can lower fasting blood sugar by 10 to 29% in people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. A study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that people who took cinnamon daily for 40 days had significant reductions in blood sugar, triglycerides, and LDL cholesterol compared to those who didn't. That's a lot of benefit from one simple spice. I add cinnamon to almost everything now. I sprinkle it on my oatmeal in the morning, stir it into my coffee, add it to smoothies, and even dust it on roasted sweet potatoes. It's sweet and warming, and it makes food taste better while helping my blood sugar at the same time. One thing to note, there are 2 types of cinnamon: Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon, and cassia cinnamon, which is more common and less expensive. Cassia contains a compound called coumarin that can be harmful in large amounts if you consume it daily for a long time. If you're using cinnamon regularly, try to get Ceylon cinnamon. It's a little more expensive, but it's safer for daily use. The second food is leafy greens: spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, arugula. All of them are incredibly beneficial for blood sugar control. Leafy greens are extremely low in carbohydrates and have a very low glycemic index, which means they don't raise your blood sugar at all. But more than that, they're packed with magnesium, and magnesium plays a crucial role in blood sugar regulation. Magnesium helps your body use insulin more effectively. Studies have shown that people with low magnesium levels are much more likely to develop insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Research published in the journal Diabetes Care found that people who ate the most leafy greens had a 14% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who ate the least. 14% might not sound like a lot, but when you consider how common diabetes is, that's a significant reduction in risk. Leafy greens are also high in antioxidants and fiber, both of which help reduce inflammation and slow down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. I try to eat leafy greens at least once a day, usually at lunch or dinner. Sometimes it's a big salad, sometimes it's sautéed spinach as a side dish. Sometimes I throw a handful into a smoothie where I don't even taste it. The key is consistency. You don't need giant portions. A cup or 2 of greens a day makes a real difference. The third food is fatty fish: salmon, mackerel, sardines, herring, trout. These fish are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3s are incredibly important for blood sugar control. Omega-3s reduce inflammation, and chronic inflammation is a major driver of insulin resistance. They also improve the function of your cell membranes, which makes it easier for insulin to do its job and move glucose into your cells. Multiple studies have shown that people who eat fatty fish regularly have better insulin sensitivity and lower fasting blood sugar levels compared to people who don't. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that eating fatty fish just twice a week significantly reduced the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Another study showed that omega-3 supplementation improved blood sugar control in people who already had diabetes. I aim for fatty fish at least twice a week. A 4-ounce piece of salmon for dinner, canned sardines on whole grain crackers for lunch. It doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Canned salmon and sardines are just as nutritious as fresh and much more affordable. If you really can't stand fish, fish oil supplements are an option, but talk to your doctor first because fish oil can thin your blood. Whole fish is always better because you get protein and other nutrients along with the omega-3s. The fourth food is nuts, particularly almonds and walnuts. Nuts are packed with healthy fats, fiber, protein, and magnesium, all of which help stabilize blood sugar. The combination of fat, fiber, and protein in nuts slows down the absorption of glucose into your bloodstream. That means when you eat nuts with a meal or as a snack, your blood sugar doesn't spike as much. Studies have shown that people who eat nuts regularly have lower fasting blood sugar and better insulin sensitivity. A study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that eating 2 ounces of nuts daily for 12 weeks significantly improved blood sugar control in people with type 2 diabetes. Another study showed that just a handful of almonds before a meal reduced blood sugar spikes by up to 30%. The key with nuts is portion control. They're calorie dense, so a little goes a long way. 1 ounce, which is about 23 almonds or 14 walnut halves, is a good serving. I portion out my nuts at the beginning of the week, so I'm not tempted to overeat them. I keep a small container of almonds in my car and another in my desk. When I need a snack, I grab a handful. It keeps my blood sugar steady and stops me from reaching for something sugary or starchy that would spike my blood sugar. The fifth food is berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, all of them are excellent for blood sugar control. Berries are relatively low in sugar compared to other fruits, and they're packed with fiber and antioxidants. The fiber in berries slows down how quickly your body absorbs the natural sugar they contain, which prevents blood sugar spikes. Berries also contain compounds called anthocyanins, which have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce blood sugar levels after meals. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people who ate blueberries regularly had improved insulin sensitivity and lower blood sugar levels compared to those who didn't. Another study showed that eating a cup of mixed berries with a high-carb meal reduced the blood sugar spike by 20 to 25%. I eat berries almost every day. I add them to my oatmeal, throw them into smoothies, or just eat a handful as a snack. Fresh is great, but frozen berries are just as nutritious and often less expensive. Don't let cost or availability stop you from eating berries. Frozen works perfectly. One thing to note, while berries are great for blood sugar, fruit juice is not. When you juice fruit, you remove the fiber, and fiber is what prevents the blood sugar spike. Stick with whole berries. Your blood sugar will thank you. The sixth food is chia seeds. These tiny seeds are nutritional powerhouses, and they're especially good for blood sugar control. Chia seeds are incredibly high in fiber, about 11 grams per ounce, and most of that is soluble fiber. Soluble fiber forms a gel-like substance in your stomach that slows down digestion and the absorption of glucose. Studies have shown that chia seeds can reduce blood sugar spikes by up to 39% after meals. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that people who ate chia seeds with a meal had significantly lower blood sugar levels 2 hours later compared to those who didn't. Chia seeds also improve insulin sensitivity over time. The beauty of chia seeds is how easy they are to use. I add a tablespoon to my morning smoothie or stir them into yogurt. You can also make chia pudding by mixing chia seeds with milk or a milk alternative and letting it sit overnight in the fridge. It thickens into a pudding-like consistency, and you can add berries, nuts, and cinnamon on top for a blood sugar-friendly breakfast or snack. Chia seeds have almost no flavor, so they don't change the taste of whatever you add them to. They just boost the nutrition and help keep your blood sugar stable. The seventh food is legumes, which includes beans, lentils, and chickpeas. Legumes are one of the best foods you can eat for blood sugar control, and the research backs this up strongly. Legumes are high in both protein and fiber, and that combination is incredibly effective at stabilizing blood sugar. Protein slows down the digestion of carbohydrates, and fiber prevents glucose from being absorbed too quickly. Legumes also have a low glycemic index, which means they don't cause blood sugar spikes. A major study published in the Archives of Internal Medicine found that people who ate legumes regularly had significantly better blood sugar control and a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who ate them rarely. Another study showed that replacing just half a serving of rice or potatoes with beans reduced blood sugar spikes by 20%. I try to eat legumes several times a week. I add black beans to salads, make lentil soup, toss chickpeas into stir-fries, or mash beans into a dip. They're filling, inexpensive, and incredibly versatile. If beans give you gas or bloating, start small and let your digestive system adjust. Rinsing canned beans thoroughly can help, and adding a strip of kombu seaweed to the cooking water when you prepare dried beans can reduce the compounds that cause digestive issues. Now let me give you some practical advice on how to use these 7 foods to manage your blood sugar. The most important thing you can do is eat balanced meals that combine protein, healthy fat, and fiber. This slows down the absorption of glucose and prevents blood sugar spikes. For example, instead of eating a bowl of oatmeal by itself, which is mostly carbohydrates, add some nuts, chia seeds, berries, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Now you've got protein, fat, fiber, and blood sugar regulating compounds all working together. Your blood sugar stays much more stable. Another tip: eat these foods before or with meals that are higher in carbohydrates. If you're going to have rice or bread, have a handful of nuts first, or make sure there's plenty of leafy greens and beans on your plate. The protein, fat, and fiber from these foods will blunt the blood sugar spike from the carbs. Also, avoid eating carbohydrates alone. A piece of white bread by itself will spike your blood sugar fast. But if you eat that bread with some almond butter or a piece of cheese, the fat and protein slow down digestion, and your blood sugar stays more stable. Timing matters too. Try not to go more than 4 to 5 hours without eating during the day. When you wait too long between meals, your blood sugar drops, and then you're more likely to overeat or reach for something sugary, which causes a big spike. Eating small, balanced meals or snacks every few hours keeps your blood sugar steady all day long. And please drink plenty of water. Dehydration can raise blood sugar levels. Staying hydrated helps your kidneys flush out excess glucose through urine. One last thing: monitor how you feel. Blood sugar affects everything. When your blood sugar is stable, you have steady energy, clear thinking, and a calm mood. When it's spiking and crashing, you feel tired, irritable, foggy, and hungry all the time. Pay attention to those signals. They'll tell you what's working and what's not. If you have diabetes or prediabetes, keep checking your blood sugar and working with your doctor. These foods are powerful, but they're not a replacement for medical care. They're tools that work alongside medication and lifestyle changes. Blood sugar control is one of the most important things you can do for your long-term health. High blood sugar damages your body silently over years and decades, but the good news is that food gives you real power to manage it. These 7 foods are proven to help. Use them consistently and you'll see the difference. If this was helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more practical, science-backed health advice. And drop a comment and let me know which of these 7 foods you're going to add to your routine this week. I'd love to hear from you. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.